Terrific Tuesday, October 17th, 2023. Time for an after work story. Willie and the All-Stars. Yes, this is by Floyd Cooper. And we're going to go back in time to the year 1942. Let's see, how many years is that? 81? And Jackie Robinson is still years away from breaking the color barrier. But that doesn't mean a boy can't dream of doing the same. Listen, we are not too old, and of course you're not too young to dream. What are some of yours? Your heartfelt desires deep down inside. Well, let's have a teaser. Willie lives on the north side. It's like some of us live on the south side, some of us live on the west side. He lives on the north side of Chicago with his grandmother. Times are tough, but they find strength in each other and joy in listening to the Cub games on the radio. Willie dreams of the day he will become a major leaguer like his idols. But it's 1942. And Jackie Robinson is still years away from breaking the color barrier. When Willie hears the neighborhood men talking up the exploits of Satchel Paige and Josh Gibson, he wonders why he's never heard of these men on the radio. That's because they're Negro leaguers. Old Ezra tells him, being a major leaguer is about a lot more than how good a fella is. It's also about the color of his skin. And yours is the wrong color. Willie is crushed until a surprise gives him the best gift a boy can have, hope, in the form of his dream back. Come on, keep hope alive. Yes. Floyd Cooper's sumptuous paintings, yes, help uncover this little known chapter in baseball history while offering readers an uplifting tale. For such a time as this, we need uplifting news. And to know that he created these paintings, Floyd Cooper. So let's enjoy. Oh my goodness, look at this. Oh my goodness, this is beautiful. Willie lived with his grandma in a tiny one-room apartment on the north side of Chicago. It was 1942, and nothing came easy, not even a boy's dreams. Everything Willie loved best was there in that little apartment. Grandma, their radio, and the wad of tape and string Willie used as a baseball when he played stickball in the street. Can you imagine? That's beautiful. I used to listen to a lot of radio when I was younger too. It was Willie's grandma who taught him to love baseball. As they settled into their seats in front of the old radio, Willie would close his eyes and feel just like he was at Wrigley Field, his heart pumping to the sound of balls slamming into mitts, sending puffs of old leather dust into the afternoon sunlight, just like the sunlight afternoon right now. As waves of fresh cut grass tickled his nose, someday he knew he would stand at home plate, smashing a fastball deep into center field for a home run. It's so funny. I was talking to a girlfriend of mine. We became acquaintances, and we have the same birthday. She's 1 year older than me. But anyway, we were in the second grade together. First grade, second grade, third grade. And she told me of her love of baseball. And it came from her following her brother to these baseball games when they were younger. And her father would take her to these games. And to this day, she was listening to the Diamondback game last night. And it's just precious how the love of certain sports, interests, activities are formed in our childhood by our parents or our family members. Willie pretended he was playing baseball no matter what he was doing. A trip to the store quickly became a series of stolen bases, from the curb to the lamppost to the first fire hydrant to the mailbox, until he slid safe at home without breaking an egg. That's wonderful. I'm trying to see, can we recognize any of these scenes in Chicago? Nothing made the dream feel more real Then when Willie and his pals played stickball in the street, he would hear the cheers from the fans in his head as he pretended he was Joe DiMaggio in center field or Dizzy Dean striking out batters. Major league stars were the best. Willie wanted to be the best too. What do you want to be the best in? It's not too late. One hot summer evening, Willie sat on his front stoop listening to a gathering of old men as they spun tales of trickery and triumph. He clung to each word. Satchel Paige throws his pitches so fast they make buzzing sounds before they disappear in front of home plate, said Mr. Wilson. Oh man, that ain't nothing, said another of the men. I know of a cat so quick he can flick off the light switch and be in bed before the room gets dark. Cool Papa Bell. The man is that quick. Y'all ain't seen nothing, said old Ezra, till you seen Josh Gibson hit. That fella once hit a ball so high and far, it still ain't come down. And that's the truth. Don't you love that jive talking of men? I love it, love it, love it. It's just an art. The men hooted in laughter. Willie couldn't believe his ears. Isn't that beautiful? Jive turkey. Why ain't I ever heard of these players on the radio, he asked. That's because they're Negro League players, said Mr. Wilson. You mean all of these players you've been talking about aren't even real major leaguers, Willie asked. How good could they be? Old Ezra rose up from the steps and looked Willie right in the eyes. Son, being a major league ball player is about a lot more than how good a fella is. It's also about the color of his skin. And yours is the wrong color. All of a sudden, Willie felt all closed up inside, almost like he was trapped in a box. You ever felt that way? Oh. Of course, Willie wasn't the only boy with baseball dreams. He and his good pal Sean O'Carroll had spent hours after hour talking about how they were going to make it to the major league someday. I'm going to smack balls over the outfield wall just like the Babe, Sean would say. You and me, Willie, we'll work hard together and play on the same team. Isn't that wonderful? Willie would usually laugh, but today he just dropped his head. He thought about how he and Sean couldn't sit together on the trolley, how they had to drink from separate water fountains at the park. Old Ezra tells me I ain't never gonna play in the majors, said Willie. You don't know that for sure, he said. Old Ezra may know a lot, but he doesn't know everything. That's beautiful. You can have wonderful friendship of any color. You see how supportive Sean O'Carroll? Come on now. Doesn't matter. The next day, they saw old Ezra standing out on the stoop, talking with some men. One of them put something into Ezra's pocket and gave him a great big hug before driving away in a fancy-looking car. As the boys walked past, old Ezra stopped Willie. Willie, he shouted, just the fella I'm looking for. Keep your chin up and take these. Uh-oh. Putting an envelope into Willie's shirt pocket. It's time you learned a little something about baseball. Oh, look at this. What do you think it is? Yeah, the suspense. I think you're right. It's time you learn. Willie thanked old Ezra, looked in the envelope, and broke out into the biggest smile Sean had ever seen. What is it? Sean asked. Willie held up 2 tickets from the envelope. Sean broke out into the second biggest smile. Yes! Isn't that wonderful? Admission to an exhibition baseball game between the Negro League All-Star team and the Major League All-Stars. Isn't this wonderful? Willie couldn't believe his eyes. Here he was in a place he never thought he would see. A place where men became legends. A place Willie and kids like him could only go in their imaginations. Where are you going in your imagination? Come on. Eyes have not seen, ears have not even heard, or entered into your heart the things. Come on. Prepare for you. This was Wrigley Field. Come on. Dream. Yeah. Beyond your imagination. So many things are possible. Even that you're like, oh, that's too much. Willie took it all in. He wanted to remember for Grandma every single detail. He would tell her how he and Sean saw all the greats, the very ones they heard play on the radio. And then there were the Negro League players. A ragtag collection they were, in uniforms tattered and faded from too many trips up and down backcountry roads. Shoes softened and worn with age, and memories of 2 or 3 games a day. Baseball gloves patched up, tied, and retied too many times. These players joked around and played games in front of the dugout as they warmed up. Don't they realize who it is they are going to play? Willie wondered. There was Satchel Paige driving a nail through a post with his infamous B-ball pitch. There was Josh Gibson just playing around, sending a ball so high into the sky it probably wouldn't come down till midnight. Oh, how about that? Willie and Sean saw through the leg catches and behind the back throws. The Negro Leaguers were vast and talented for sure, but could they really compete with the best? The game was tough fought to the bitter end as each team played hard to win, but from the first pitch, the Negro League team seemed a bit hungrier for the victory. They stretched singles into doubles, doubles into triples, and even stole home for a score. They hit harder, ran faster, and just plain outmuscled the Major League team for the win. How about it? The crowd went wild at the display they'd just seen, and the Negro League players hugged each other in joy. That's beautiful. Then something happened that made Willie catch his breath. 2 opposing players, one from each team, found their way through the hoopla and fray and met each other face to face atop the pitcher's mound. The whooping and hollering stopped with a jolt as the crowd watched in astonishment. 2 players, one black, one white, shook hands. A nod of acknowledgement, if not acceptance, from white to black. Isn't this wonderful? How about that? This is Floyd Cooper. He began drawing at a very early age. After a short stint in advertising, Mr. Cooper began illustrating children's books exclusively. He has lent his unique artistic style to half a dozen titles, so many, and he lives in Easton with his wife and their 2 sons in Pennsylvania. Ooh, let's hear something about the author, his note. Back when baseball was first played, when it held promise for any dreamer with enough talent and luck, any man could put his skills on the line and go as far as his play would take him. It didn't matter if he was black, brown, or white. Baseball was, in a sense, young and open to all. In 1888, all that changed when baseball, perhaps reflecting the social climate of the times, banned players of color from major league participation. Untold dreams were snuffed out and superb talent was stifled. Ooh, that sounds familiar. Negro League Baseball was formed as an answer to the closed hand of Major League Baseball. It started out with ragtag teams called barnstormers. The teams were made up of talented players pulled together from wherever, who would travel the back roads in search of nothing more than a field to play on and a team to challenge. Freed from the confines and rules of the majors, the Negro League game evolved into a looser, faster, some would say more entertaining brand of baseball as promoters sought to increase fan attendance and keep the seats filled. The Barnstormers had it rough. They traveled the dusty back roads of America, America's oftentimes playing several games in a single day for very meager pay. Along the way, they brought baseball to thousands of game-starved fans who would otherwise be denied the experience of this homebred sport. As the legend of the Negro Leagues best grew, it attracted the attention of major league owners who were fighting dwindling attendance as America fought in a war overseas. This led to opportunity, the All-Star Games, pitting Negro leaguers versus major leaguers. Many such contests were held, and more often than not, the Negro leaguers came out on top. Who knows how many dreams were kindled by their determination? Willie and the All-Stars is about one such dream that may have been inspired by this period in the history of America's pastime. This is appropriate. This is great. Thank you so much, Mr. Cooper. And we're going to spend some time dreaming of our own plans and other places all of us will go. Enjoy.